Hey guys, what's good? Just coming at y'all with a quick video of a watch I just picked up. Before we get too far into it, let me apologize for the delay in content. Just had some other stuff going on, but I'm right back in the habit. And I was able to acquire a really interesting watch and a brand that I've wanted to show y'all for a long time. It's a Seiko, not just any Seiko though, it is a Grand Seiko. This is the SBGX261. As you can see, it is a quartz watch, and this has their vaunted 9F movement. It's a high accuracy quartz movement. You can see a lot of stuff online about that movement. And it's accurate, just about 10 seconds a year. It's thermocompensated quartz, and just a really beautiful watch, really well finished and really nice, but man, really expensive. This is an entry level Grand Seiko, and the brand is growing. I've had a few of these over the years, and I had them, I don't know, before they became like such a big deal. And I haven't had them in a while. That was a brief and expensive affair with Grand Seiko before, but I said, well, let me try to acquire one and just see what it's all about nowadays. It's a current model, this SBGX261. It is I would say a mid-sized or classically sized watch. It's 37 millimeters in diameter. Kind of feels like a Rolex date just in the hand. It's all stainless steel, comes on this really nice bracelet. And that's where I'll start on the bracelet. The clasp is a pretty nice twin trigger release, and it works well, it works fine, and it's got plenty of links to remove, but it's really hard to size the bracelet, and I'm gonna put some still pictures here. Yeah, you saw that. And so, about the bracelet, it's a system that incorporates like a pin through the middle and just teeny tiny screws on either side, and it's cumbersome to size, and it's a real hassle, and I think it kind of lets the watch down right off the bat. But it's a bracelet, whatever. You can put it on a strap. 19 millimeter lug width on this one, so it's an odd size. But one thing that is very much appreciated is, look, they have drilled lugs, and so that is very much appreciated because it makes it easy to change straps and stuff like that. You can see the dial is a beautiful gloss black, and the markers are very well finished. The polishing is great. They really just shine. And the hands are really nice too. Other than, some Patek Philippe watches, nobody does these sword style hands better than, Grand Seiko. They're really cool. They're really easy to read. And, I guess the theme with this watch is you get quite a bit of watch for the money. Is it worth the $2,500 asking price? I don't know, man. That's a lot of money for a watch. It's a lot of money for a quartz watch, although, as you know from my other videos, I am happy to spend a lot of money on quartz, but I don't know. This is a really nice daily driver kind of watch. You can see that the seconds hand hits pretty close to the markers. That's a knock on some Seikos and even some Grand Seikos. It's nowhere near as impressive to hit the markers like my Casio MRG, but this is nowhere near that kind of watch. This is more like Seiko's entry level into like a daily driver, Rolex Datejust competitor kind of watch. And so it's for people that are looking for something quirky, something interesting. For me, I was looking for something cheap and something entry level to get into the brand, but it has a lot of charms. I'm not suggesting you pay $2,500 for this watch. That's a lot of skrill. I traded for it, so my trade value into it is about, 1750, 1500, something like that. And at that price, I think it's like acceptable. You know what I mean? It's really pretty. It's fun to wear. It's easy to wear because it's quartz. And it's got some nice features, like the polishing is really good. The markers are beautiful. I love the hands. There's no lume, of course, but you don't mind it because the hands sparkle so much. It's got a date wheel that is color matched. That's cool. Bracelet is good quality. A little movement at the end links, but hey, I'm not asking for Rolex quality out of this watch, and so that's not bad. You can see it's 100 meters water resistant, and like I said, a really pretty watch. Let's try it on the wrist and see how we feel about it. Give me a second. Well, actually, let me do it just right now here. Today I've got something interesting. This is a Breitling Colt 38. Look forward to making a review of that watch for y'all. So let me take it off here. Just a quick side-by-side, why not? So the Colt is 38 nominally, and the Grand Seiko is 37. But it's funny how whenever you actually hold watches, you actually compare them, you can see that, the Grand Seiko certainly looks a little bit larger. All right, let's get this thing out of here. Let me put this thing on. So there we go. And get it. And there you can see it on my wrist. That's 16 centimeters, 6.5 inch diameter, and it looks really nice. It looks like kind of like a 36 millimeter date just. Honestly, I feel like it probably wears a little bit better than a 36 millimeter date just, probably because it's actually, it's a 37 millimeter watch. But yeah, it's easy to wear. It's kind of fun to wear, it's something a little bit different, and it's quartz, so you can just kind of like throw it on in the morning and then take it off in the afternoon and put on something else, and then it'll still be fine. I think it's a lot of watch for the money at like 1,500, 1,750, even at like 2,000. But man, at 2,500, you're really competing against a lot of watches in that price range. I mean, you're starting to knock on the door of like some Tudors, certainly, Zen, you're in that neighborhood now. You have lots of options even from Breitling in that option. So that's a really, really, really competitive neighborhood. I don't know who this watch is targeted to, in the sense that, I own a lot of watches from all different brands at all different price ranges. So for me, I'm always curious, and I'm willing to take a swing and just see how I like it, and then just move it along if it's not something that works for me. And so for me, it's like, it's fine. It's an inexpensive way to show y'all a Grand Seiko and for me to wear it. But for somebody who's got $2,500 or $1,750 or $2,000 to spend, and that's their money and that's their budget, I think this watch goes up against a lot of competition from some really, really good Swiss brands, and it's hard for me to justify those kind of valuations on this watch. Not to say it's not a great watch, it's fine. If you're really wanting a Grand Seiko, let me just say I would get something like this. This is a current production model. It's got all their technology in it. But you're not spending like $3,500 or $4,500. I mean, I've seen some Grand Seikos with their spring drive movement go for like $7,500, $10,000. And they're great watches. They're really well finished. But, I applaud the people that are spending that kind of money on this kind of watch. I mean, I think it displays a kind of just real commitment to being that guy that's not going to be buying a Rolex, that's not going to be buying an Omega or a Breitling or something more, quote, mainstream, and say, hey, listen, I've got 10 grand to spend, man. I'm going to buy it on a Grand Seiko that looks, I don't know, about like this one, but the dial is some kind of weird snowflake texture, and it's got not this quartz movement, but an even better quartz movement in it. And if that's your thing, man, I'm down. I'm here for it. I will always be that person that supports people buying things that they love. Believe me, look at my channel. You can see some of the poor decisions I've made over the years. But in all honesty, I feel like Grand Seiko gets a lot of respect from the watch community, and a lot of it is deserved, some of it not so much. You know, I'm thankful that mine hits the hour markers just right. You know, I'm glad that the fit of the bracelet is okay. It's not too chintzy, or not, you know, there's not too much movement. But, you know, I would invite you to read some forums and read some other people's impressions on these watches, and you can see that they're by far not universally positive, nor should they be. Listen, not every watch is for everyone, and I'm certainly, you know, rambling right now about this video, but if, I guess what I'll say is this: I really like the watch. I think it's really nice. It's a very simple watch that works as a daily driver. And for someone like me that owns a lot of watches, it's an inexpensive way to get back into the brand, experience it. But, you know, am I starting to shop like, you know, the Spring Drive Grand Seikos? Am I trying to shop like some of their GMT movements? No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I got my Grand Seiko. It gives me 90% of what Grand Seiko does at, you know, at an acceptable entry level at $1,500, $1,750. But, you know, it's nothing that I would tell you that you should be extending yourself beyond for, you know. So take that for what you will. Listen, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that really love this brand. I like the brand. I appreciate it for what it is. But man, I've owned enough watches. I've seen enough trends to appreciate what it is, and not try to make it out to be something more than that. Anyway, sorry, random video, guys. Hang on, let me show it to you in a different view. Give me a second, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. And so, yeah, you can see a quick look at this watch in a different view, and I like it. Again, don't misunderstand me. I like the watch. I think it's cool. You know, I'm looking forward to wearing it and enjoying it. For me, it represents an opportunity to show y'all a watch from a brand that has not been represented on the channel. Of course, I've had Seikos on the channel. I'm going to have a few more, actually. But, you know, Grand Seiko, so a big step up from their entry level. You know, not their entry level, but their Seiko brand, the Grand Seiko brand, and this is the entry level into that brand. You know, you get a lot of the same finishing, you get a lot of the same technology, same high accuracy quartz movement that comes in. They're much more expensive watches without spending a bunch of money. You know, I like it. It does have some wrist presence because it's so well finished. The polishing is really good. That black dial really looks cool, and like I said, I like it a lot. I think it fits me really well. I think it's a fun watch to wear. I would recommend this one, the SBGX261, at, you know, $1,750 or $2,000. Please don't spend, you know, $2,500 on this watch. And unless you really love the brand, unless you really understand what it's about, unless you really know what you like, please don't spend like $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 on a Grand Seiko. Sight unseen, look at it, put it on your wrist, you know, make sure it's something that you really want. Alternatively, you know, get something a little less expensive, dip your toe in the brand. You're not going to lose a lot of money on this watch. You know, this is a very easy watch to buy and sell. And so, you know, if you get it and you're like, wow, I really like this brand, I really want to just jump in, by all means, go for it. All right, guys, sorry, really random video. Believe it or not, I really like the watch. I would really recommend it. I think it's a lot of value for what you get. But, you know, like I said, buy right. Anyway, guys, hope y'all are doing well. Take care. God bless. Again, I am very sorry about the delay in content. Promise to have a few more videos up for y'all in the near future, guys. Take care. God bless. Love y'all. Be safe. Be well. Be healthy. Bye.